Eliran, I want to tell you this is one of the most extraordinary chapters of American history, political and legal history that we've ever seen. In fact, a former United States attorney for the Washington, D.C., named Joseph DeGeneva, has stated that perhaps this is the most serious legal scandal in the history of the entire United States. And what are we talking about? We're talking about an attempt by the FBI and to some extent the other intelligence agencies to use false information about a candidate to obtain illegal warrants, search warrants, and telephone wiretapping warrants against a candidate for the presidency of the United States and his staff. And what's happening now is the committee that's in charge of this in the House of Representatives is beginning to release to the public. Just last week they released the first one, a memorandum on describing these really sinister activities by the FBI and the Democratic Party. And now there's another document that the Democrats have written that the committee has also authorized to be disclosed, and the President of the United States is happy to disclose it. But all of a sudden, the Democrats don't want it to be released because they're embarrassed about how all of these documents are going to reflect back on them. And what we've got is a story that really just can't believe it, where the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton, their candidate, probably with the knowledge of the President of the United States, Barack Obama, hired a law firm and hired a company to hire an ex-British spy who went out and gathered all this dirty information about President Trump and tried to use this, one, to disparage him during the campaign, and then to use that same information to give it. They gave it to the FBI. The FBI paid for this, then went to the special court called the FISA court. It's a special court that authorizes national security type of investigations, obtained a warrant to wiretap American citizens, including those working for the Trump campaign, in an attempt to embarrass the presidential candidate Donald Trump and his team, and to try to link them up to some kind of Russian collusion in the elections. And what's happened is that as we learn more and more about this scandal, the information is that it wasn't Donald Trump that was in touch with the Russians or using Russian information. It was Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party with the apparent knowledge of President Obama. And we haven't even heard the end of this. This is just beginning to come out.
It seems like that is hypocrisy.
Well, that's to say the least. I mean, it's not only hypocritical on the part of the Democrats, who are charging the President of the United States with the very acts that they are guilty of, but they have committed, if these facts are true, they've committed serious crimes, and people can go to jail, and it will not be President Trump or his people.
We see lately a lot of in the news, especially in the news, that discover maybe a connection between Russia to United States, especially in the last election. It's again conspiracy.
Well, look, the Russians have regularly tried to interfere with American elections. Okay, there's nothing really new about that. That's going back many, many years. What is new here is that U.S. government officials tried to make use of this information and this Russian involvement or this Russian hacking in order to tilt the scales in favor of a particular candidate, Hillary Clinton, in the elections, and that is something that we've never seen before. And that I really, you can't. I'm not trying to defend the Russians, but the real guilty parties here are the American political party that was making use of this information, the Democrats, and the intelligence agency, law enforcement agencies like the FBI, whose people were involved in this and who were who stated in text messages that they were trying to they would do basically anything to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president of the United States. Well, they failed. And now the truth is coming out.
Again, they failed. And what is going to be next?
Well, this is one thing I can say about Donald Trump. Okay, you may not like his style and you may not like his policies, but he is a fighter and he is determined and he is a courageous man and, in my view, a great leader. And people that come up against him and try to throw dirt at him, that happened during the Republican primaries for the election. It happened during the election itself, and it happened in this case with all this Russian collusion business that the Democrats have stirred up. They have ended up hurting themselves. It's a boomerang. So how it's all going to end up, we really don't know. We're still in the beginning. But the way it's going, if I were a Democrat, I'd be really worried.
1 year of the election, it seems like that you are, one side you happy and the other side you're not happy.
Well, first of all, I'm not happy about all this information that we're getting about these scandals going on with these FBI and the wiretapping and the Democratic National Committees.
And it's good for Donald Trump.
Well, no, but it's bad for democracy. Okay, I don't think anybody is happy about this. I mean, I'm glad that the president it looks like he's going to be vindicated on this, but it's bad for democracy. What I am happy about is the way that this president has run things and run his administration during the past year. One success after the next. You take a look at the American the economy, it's booming. You look at the immigration statistics in the United States, all the illegal immigration is dropping. You look at the tax reform package that he's passed, unbelievable. And of course in our area, here in the Middle East, with the declaration about Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and the moving of the U.S. Embassy by the end of 2019, things that we've been dreaming about for 70 years is about to happen, and this president's making it happen. He's changing the whole world. People don't like it. They don't like this kind of change, many of us. Many of us love it, but the president is leading America back to greatness, and he's succeeding, both at home and abroad.
People say about the President Trump that he's making history by recognize the history.
Well, that's one thing that he does. I mean, because he's not a politician, he's not been doing this kind of thing for his whole career. He's coming to look at problems that politicians and diplomats have looked at as intractable in a whole new way. He recognizes a new reality. That's what he did with Jerusalem. And he's saying to the Palestinians, for example, okay, all these years, 50 years, we've been talking to you guys and trying to get you to the peace table. The last president almost gave you the whole story, and you still didn't want to come and make peace. He said, listen, obviously that's not working. Giving you what you want, giving you all this money isn't helping anything. What you need to do, according to Donald Trump, is shake things up. Look, you think you're going to just continue, staying away from the peace table and making all these statements, trying to rewrite history in a negative way, and not coming to the table? Well, okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put the money on the table. And if you don't come to the table, you don't talk peace, and you don't do what you need to do to make things, rational and safe for all peoples in the Middle East, we're not going to pay for you anymore. No more money to UNRWA, and no more money to you, the Palestinian Authority. And if that hurts you, well, so be it. But the United States isn't going to start, and the United States taxpayer isn't going to be shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars every year just so that you can continue to be obstinate about your incorrect view of reality and your inability to sit down and make peace.